Hello students, welcome to section 3.3, Systems of Linear Inequalities. So the learning targets for today, I can graph a system of linear inequalities, and also I can identify the solution set of a linear inequality. So what we have for you, we have 5 steps, kind of help you to organize your notes and your steps. So step 1. Put the linear inequalities in slope-intercept form. Okay, what does that mean? You have to rewrite the equation in y equals mx plus b form. That's very important because if it's in y equals mx plus b, you can graph equation or inequality quickly. Okay. Also, remember to flip the sign if you multiply or divide by a negative number. Step 2. Graph the first inequality, remembering to check if it's solid or dashed line. Okay, and we'll give you an example soon. Step 3. Determine which portion of the graph is to be shaded by testing a point, and then shade. Typically, we'll test 0, 0. Step 4. Repeat the steps 2 and 3 for each of the remaining inequalities. And step 5, label the area in which the shading overlaps as your solution set. So the area that overlaps, you will write SS indicating solution set, okay? So let's take a look at one example, and that will make your life easier. When I talk about the steps, it was very abstract. So the first example I have for you, graph the system of linear inequalities and label the solution set as SS. So if you look at question number 1, we have 3 inequalities for you. Okay, so first one is x is less than 3. If you recall from our previous lesson, x equals 3 would be a vertical line. Okay, x less than 3 would be a dotted line, and we're gonna shade to the left, but let's just do it step by step. So x equals 3 would be a vertical line that goes through 3, 0. Okay, please remember this line should be dotted, a dashed line, it's not solid. So this is x equals 3. Now, how do I know that I will shade to my left? Because if you test 0, 0, okay, if you test 0, 0, 0 is less than 3. So that means that I'm shading this part. Okay, so x less than 3 is the area I shaded. Now let me change colors, maybe to red. Okay, and now let's talk about the second inequality, y is greater or equal to -2. So how do you graph y is greater or equal to -2? First, think about y is equal to -2, which would be a horizontal line that intercepts the y-axis at -0, -2. Okay, so you can find 0, -2, and now ask yourself, are we going to use a dotted line or solid line? Okay, it has to be dashed line, it has to be solid line because it's greater than or equal. So now draw a solid line through 0, 2. Now ask yourself, are we going to shade above the line or below the line? Okay, and if you're not sure, test a point 0, 0. Okay, so x is 0, y is 0. So if you substitute 0 for y, you get 0 greater or equal to -2. Now, so now let's ask ourselves, is 0 greater or equal to -2? The answer is yes. So that means that the origin 0, 0 should be shaded. Okay, So now I will shade everything above the red line. It's maybe a little confusing to you because the colors are, it's kind of difficult to shade things. But I'm now shading everything above y equals -2. Okay, and finally, let's take a look at our third inequality. Y is less than x plus 1. Okay, so y is less than x plus 1. So this time let's pick green. Okay, and again, when you do your homework today or tomorrow, try to use different colors. It will help you to really organize your notes. In the past, students who just use pencil or pen, they had difficult time understanding the solution set. Okay, so last inequality is y is less than x plus 1. So how do I graph y is less than x plus 1? First, think about y equals x plus 1. So if you think about y equals x plus 1, okay, your y-intercept is 1, which is over here. Okay, and the slope is 1 over 1, which means 1 up, 1 to your right, 1 up, 1 to your right. So go up 1, 1 over, up 1, 1 over, up 1, 1 over. Again, it's hard for you to see it, but you will have a line that intercepts y-axis at 0, 1. Ask yourself, are we supposed to have a dotted line, a dashed line, or solid line? It's dashed line, so the line will look like this. Okay, it's a dashed line, the green one. Again, it's hard for you to see it. As I said, the picture's a little messy. So now we need to decide whether we are shading above the line or below the line. Many students know that it will be below the line because y is less than, but let's test a point. Test 0, 0. If you test 0, 0, you will get 0 is less than 0 plus 1. So you get 0 is less than 1. This is a true statement, which means that 0, 0 should be shaded. Okay, so 0, 0 is below the line, so that means that this part should be shaded. Now, this picture, as I said, is very messy. Okay, so the question for you is, what is the solution set? Step 5, identify the solution set S, S. So I'm going to ask you a question, SS, question mark. Okay, the answer is, look where all the three colors are overlapping. So I used red, I used black, and I used green. Okay, where are the three colors overlapping? So think about it. Where are the three colors overlapping? It looks like the answer is over here. So the SS is this area over here. And again, you may have difficulty seeing it, but the three colors are overlapping where I put my SS in yellow. Okay? So now let's take a look at example number 2, or practice number 1, which is technically example number 2. What I would like you to do is pause the video, try the question on your own, and then watch my video and see if your answer is correct. So, first one, how do I graph y is less than or equal to -1/2 x plus 2? So if you think about this equation, your y-intercept is 2. Okay, so start at 2. The slope is -1/2, which means down 1, 2 over. So down 1, 2 over, down 1, 2 over, and I have now 3 points, so that's enough to draw a line. Now also ask yourself, are we supposed to use a solid line or dashed line? In this case, it's solid. So I will draw a line, solid line, that goes through the 3 points. And again, I'm doing this without a ruler, so my line is not straight. Now the question is, are we supposed to shade it below the line or above the line? Okay, so test 0, 0. So if you test 0, 0, you get 0 is less than or equal to negative 1/2 times 0 plus 2. So you get 0 is less than or equal to 2, and this statement is true, okay? Therefore, I should shade the portion of the graph that contains 0, 0. In other words, 0, 0 is below the graph because 0, 0 is the origin, so I will shade everything below this line. So that's how you graph the first inequality. Now let me change the colors, maybe to green this time, and let's look at the second inequality. Y is greater than or equal to 0. So how do you graph it? Think about y equals 0. Y equals 0 is a horizontal line that goes to the origin. So this is actually a tricky question because y equals 0 will be a solid line that is technically your x-axis. So this green line is y is equal to 0. Okay, now the question is, are we shading it above the line or below the line? Greater than indicates it's above the line. Also, if you're not sure why it's above the line, pick a point, but this time do not pick origin. Let's say you pick 2, 2. 2, 2, y is equal to 2, therefore 2 is greater or equal to 0, which means I should shade above the x-axis. So now, if you pause for a second and look at the overlapping area right now is in our second quadrant. Okay? Once I add my third color, it will be a little bit confusing. So our final question is, let's take a look at the last inequality, x greater or equal to 0. X equals 0 is a vertical line that goes through the origin. Since we have greater or equal sign, it will be solid line. So draw a solid line. Okay, now the question is, do we shade to the right or do we shade to the left? Greater than indicates I will shade to my right. Also, you can test a point. So now, the final question is, where is my solution set? And again, if you look at my picture, it's really hard to see the area where the three colors are overlapping. Okay, but please take a minute and see if you can find the area where the three colors are overlapping. And I'm gonna use yellow, and my answer is here. So the solution set is the area in the first quadrant. Okay, again, it's hard to see it, but if you look carefully at all the three colors, the solution set is the area shaded in yellow. Okay, final question for this video. I think it's recommended if you pause this video and actually try it on your own. Okay, that way you can actually see your mistakes if you make any mistakes. So last example, y is less than or equal to 5. So y equals 5 will be horizontal line with y-intercept 5, okay, solid because it's less than or equal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be your y-intercept, and I will draw a line. Now, should we shade it below it or above it? In this case, should be below it, and also you can test 0, 0. If you test 0, 0, 0 is less than or equal to 5, which means origin should be included. So this is the y is less than or equal to 5. Now, let's do this now in red. How do you graph x greater than negative 3? x equals 3 would be a vertical line, okay, that goes through negative 3 comma 0, and because of this symbol it will be a dash line. It's not solid. Okay, and then ask yourself, are we going to shade it to the right or to the left? Greater than indicates to my right, but also you can test 0, 0. 0 is greater than negative 3. Therefore, I will shade this area. Okay, so far the overlapping area is quadrant 4 and part of quadrant 1 and part of quadrant 3. Actually, as well, all four quadrants. My final inequality, I may use, let's use green. How do I graph y is less than or equal to 2x minus 2? That's your y-intercept, and that's your slope. So start at negative 2. Okay, slope is equal to 2 over 1. So go up to 1 over. Up to 1 over. You can also go down 1 left. Okay, so the three green dots, what I will do, I will draw a solid line through the green dots. Okay, and what do I shade? Let's test 0 comma 0. So x is 0, y is 0. So 0 less than or equal to 2 times 0 minus 2. So 0 is less than or equal to negative 2. So please ask yourself, is 0 less than or equal to negative 2? The answer is false. That's not true. Therefore, I will not shade the origin. Okay, the origin, I'm not going to shade it. Therefore, I have to shade the other side. In other words, the complement. So I'm shading this part of the graph. So again, take a look at this picture and tell me what part of the graph did you shade 3 times. In other words, look at the area that is at the same time green, red, and black. Okay, and if I use yellow, it will be here. SS. So SS is in this area. So this video, in my opinion, it's hard to understand because of the colors, but again, if we do this on the whiteboard and use bigger pictures, I think it will be easier for you. Okay, but I showed you the steps to graph system of linear inequalities. So thank you for watching the video and see you in class. Bye bye.